Hey guys, Miss Higgins here. I'm back today to do another read aloud. Today we're going to finish up our Bloody Mary story. And if you missed our read aloud yesterday, make sure you tune into the channel to catch up on that. We learned about 3 different women that this Bloody Mary legend could possibly be about. And we also learned about how kids and adults all around the world practice this fear test of Bloody Mary. Moving on. Chapter 3. Do you see what I see? Mirrors appear in legends all around the world. Historically, they have been seen as paths to another world, like in Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, when Alice passes through the looking glass. In literature and art, mirrors are also often used as a way of communicating with spirits. An example of this is in Snow White, when the evil queen talks to a ghostly face in the mirror. So it's no surprise that the Bloody Mary legend has spread far and wide, despite the mysteries surrounding it. While there are many versions of the Bloody Mary ritual, these parts remain the same: a mirror, a darkened room, and a phrase that's chanted a certain number of times. And of course, a frightening female figure. But no one knows who this woman is or why she appears. There's no agreement on exactly what she looks like or what she'll do once you're standing face to face with her. And that might be exactly why kids want to meet her. Many brush off the Bloody Mary legend as a simple fear test that lets someone try something scary in a safe place. Or is it really true? Some people get a thrill out of summoning spirits. The expectation that something will happen is sometimes enough to make us think we saw something. That could be why the legend of Bloody Mary is still passed around to kids all over the world today. As we hear the story over and over again, we begin to believe it. But are you brave enough to say it? Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. And then at the end of this, because this is the end of the story, there's a skeptic's note. And remember, a skeptic is someone who does not fully believe the story. They are skeptical of what they've heard. After squinting in the darkness for a few minutes, your eyes can easily play tricks on your mind. When playing Bloody Mary, staring at your own reflection while reciting her name could be enough to trick your eyes and mind that you've seen a ghost. It could be a hallucination, when you think you see or hear something even if it's not there. Or it could be a simple optical illusion. Try staring at your own reflection in the mirror. In less than a minute, you'll see your face start changing shape. Keep staring and it will become distorted and scary looking. It might even look like an angry spirit. It turns out that if you stare at something long enough, your brain will fade out the details around it. They'll begin to blend into the background. It's called the Troxler effect. So if you're interested in that Troxler effect, you can go try it in your own bathroom mirror. And I'm sure if you Googled Troxler effect, it's Troxler effect, you could probably find some cool information about that. Remember though, make sure you're using a reliable source. Read the information and make sure that it's, seems true. It's not just something that anyone could have posted. Okay, so we're moving into our Haunted America book today. And we're going to read about the Gettysburg battlefield. And I know in my class we've learned about the Civil War. And I know in a lot of the other 5th grade classes you guys have also learned about the Civil War. So I felt like this was a pretty good relative story to start with. Gettysburg battlefield. The deadliest battle of the Civil War, which lasted from 1861 to 1865, happened in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. As the Union and Confederacy clashed, more than 50,000 soldiers lost their lives over 3 days. The battle at Gettysburg was a blow to the South. Some people say soldiers who took part in the Battle of Gettysburg still roam the battlefield. Gettysburg has a long history of reported hauntings. The first one happened during the battle itself in 1863. During the battle, troops from Maine arrived outside of Gettysburg to support the Union. However, they weren't sure where to go. At a fork in the road, a man riding a horse and wearing a tri-cornered hat appeared. Hundreds of soldiers and several officers all said the figure had the face of George Washington. At the time, though, Washington had been dead for more than 60 years. Although startled, the troops followed Washington's directions. They arrived in time to help push back General Robert E. Lee's Confederate forces. And remember that the Union was the northern states that fought against the southern states in the Civil War. And the Confederacy was the 11 southern states that left the United States to form the Confederate States of America. Civil War soldiers aren't the only people who have claimed to see ghosts at Gettysburg. Today, the battle site is a national park. Many visitors claim to have had ghostly encounters. Some have seen a headless soldier riding a horse. Others have heard unseen babies crying and mysterious footsteps. Some people think ghosts are reliving battle scenes of the war. Visitors have heard gunfire, running horses, and the heavy booms of cannon fire. In one building during the war, injured soldiers' limbs were amputated or cut off and thrown out a window. Today, a window in that building vibrates loudly. One soldier is said to have haunted the cemetery for years. He was supposedly upset that his tombstone didn't mention the Medal of Honor he'd won. As soon as the marking was changed to include the medal, his ghost was never seen again. Okay, our next one up is the Lizzie Borden house. And I know some of my kids researched this a while back. We were doing some research in practice in class, and they researched this topic, and they learned a lot of cool things about it. Okay, and here's a picture of Lizzie Borden. All these people look so creepy. On August 4th, 1892, the bodies of Andrew and Abby Borden were discovered in their home. Police thought they had been killed with an axe. Andrew's daughter, Lizzie, was accused of their murder. A jury found her not guilty, but people continued to debate whether or not she committed the murders. Today, the house is a bed and breakfast and museum. Since it was reopened in 1996, guests have reported ghostly activities. Visitors have witnessed flickering lights and heard unexplained crying noises. Some have seen shoes moving on the floor without being touched. They've also heard screen doors slam, although the house has no screen doors. Some overnight guests report being tucked in by an older woman wearing traditional clothes. A housekeeper quit after she saw the imprint of a body in one of the beds. Okay, and I'm going to read one more for today, and this one is pretty interesting. The White House. Look familiar? That's where our president lives. The White House has been home to every American president for more than 200 years. The address, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, Washington, D.C., is the most famous in the United States. But there's something else that isn't as well known about the White House. It may be haunted. The first ghost reported in the White House was William Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln's son. William died of an illness in 1862. Abraham Lincoln's wife, Mary Todd Lincoln, claimed she saw the ghost of her son every night. He would stand at the foot of her bed and smile at her. Creepy. Sometimes he came with other family members who had also died. Mary Lincoln told her half-sister that seeing William's ghost comforted her. And here is a picture of William Lincoln. However, not every White House ghost is as gentle. Some visitors have reported seeing the ghost of a British soldier carrying a torch. One couple said the ghost tried to set fire to their bed. Ghost hunters think it could be the ghost of one of the soldiers who burned down the White House during the War of 1812. Dolly Madison's ghost is also said to roam the White House. The wife of President James Madison, Dolly was in charge of planting the White House's famous rose garden. 100 years later, while Woodrow Wilson was president, gardeners were ordered to dig up the garden. According to legend, Dolly's angry ghost stopped the gardeners. Other ghosts people have seen at the White House include former presidents Abraham Lincoln, William Henry Harrison, and Andrew Jackson. President John Adams' wife, Abigail Adams, has been seen hanging laundry in the East Room. Some people have said they could smell soap and wet clothes. When I turned on the light one morning, he, Abraham Lincoln, was sitting there outside his office with his hands over top of each other, legs crossed. And when I blinked, he was gone. And that was from Tony Savoy, who is a White House operations foreman. Okay, and that'll be all for today. I'll start back with a new ghost story tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I hope everyone's happy at home, probably still in your jammies. I would be if I could. And I hope you're all having a great week. I miss you guys. And again, any questions, any comments, any requests for a read aloud, let me know. Bye.